welcome to the Sparring Sessions podcast. My name's Dax, and we're here today to do something a little special. There's no UFC. That being said, we wanted to give you some kind of content. So I'll get into what we're doing, but first I got to bring in my co-hosts, the Sparring Sessions team. As always, first up, in just on order of who's on my screen, UFC Genie. How you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I'm
Pretty good.
yeah, I'm doing pretty good, man.
Wonderful. Will, how about you?
Doing all right, man. I just realized I forgot to grab my energy drink and I'm dying. No, I'm kidding.
You
I'm doing all
dying?
right. I'm doing all right, man. We had some good fights last night. That always
Oof.
puts a pep in your step. And nothing this week. Nothing this week coming up. But well, nothing UFC this week. But I'm doing all right. Looking forward to everything and anything coming up. So
Oh yeah. I agree. We had some good fights last night. We were kind of debating whether or not we wanted to recap, so we can go ahead and give it a light one, especially since I know I think all three of us made a good chunk of change, right? We'll uh,
yeah.
we'll do our betting recap on the next best bets episode because we'll go all the way back, but good fights, good fights. We had a lot of good finishes. Arosa and Melky was pretty fun. What was your we'll go favorite moment? What was your favorite moment from the card? And we'll start with Will this time.
Um Probably the well, man, the Gomes knockout was really nice.
Ooh, that was good. Yeah,
Um, Park. I saw a lot of people saying Park was going to get fraud checked, and he made it. I saw people saying that.
weird.
He made it. I think look easier than anybody has on
Yeah,
him with his back taken. Um, I think on the betting side, I think we might have all been set up for a better night if the Craig fight went through.
yeah,
I had a
yeah.
couple parlays that ended in that Craig fight under. And right before the fight got canceled, the over was getting juiced out of its mind.
Was it really?
It was like plus 120 towards the under
Oh,
by like an hour before the fight, but that didn't happen and it prematurely cashed some parlays. So I mean, beggars can't be choosers.
no,
We're happy with that regardless. So
happy with it. So yeah, Jeannie, favorite moment from the card?
Uh, just for the sake of saying a different one, I'll go with the Jared Gordon one,
Ooh,
Tiago Moises.
yeah.
I did not think Tiago
ugh,
Moises was losing, and I did not think he was getting flatline KO'd in one round. That one
rough.
was not on my bingo card, you know.
Nope. And oof, yeah, I that is one of my best bets. And I had some money on that. That being said, I really enjoyed the. What I enjoyed the most? I enjoyed the Del Valle win, the him submitting Conor
Yeah.
Matthews. That was a
Yeah.
good fight. And I'm excited for him as a. Yeah, who's the last Cuban we had? Was it? Can you count Julian
Julian.
Marquez?
Waldo.
Mm.
Waldo's he's Dominican.
He's Dominican. Yeah, it's been a minute. Yoel maybe, right?
Yeah.
Unless I'm. Oh,
Well, Julian,
who's
I think,
the?
had a more recent fight than Yoel in the UFC.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we're not going to talk about Julian Marquez any more than we have to.
Oh, I
Let's jump
think
right
we
in.
will be talking about Julian Marquez.
Oh boy. Yeah, actually, you know what? You're right. You're right. We will be. Um, so let's jump right in and, well, not jump right in. I'm gonna give a little intro to what we're doing here. We're kind of at the halfway point of the year. Um, the UFC year especially kind of ends early December-ish, so you kind of you divide that by two. Maybe you're looking at like MMA. We got a break, so we just wanted to give you our mid-year top threes. So we're doing top three events of the year, top three fights of the year, finishes, and then fights to be made. Well, it's a little something fun at the end for well, fun for me, maybe not for Jeannie and Will. We'll see. Um, so yeah, I asked the boys. This can be any promotion. I get a feeling most of these categories are just going to be UFC, but you never know. So let's kick it off first with our top three events of the year. Kind of um, this was the toughest category for me, I think. I don't know about you two, but this was the one I had the most difficulty with. Let's just get out. We'll go around the circle, but let's just give out all three in order. No honorable mentions until the end. We'll save honorable mentions to the end, but Jeannie, you're up first. Top three events of the year for you so far.
So ranking these ones was very difficult for
Yeah.
me. So like take the rankings with kind of a grain of salt. I really flip-flopped hard on this. Like so the three might be a two, two might be a three, the one might be a two, so the whole thing's a
Mm.
fuckery. But
Yeah.
this is my top three. Last night, I think actually has to fucking place on the board for some.
Wow.
Last
An
night is
Apex
placing on the
card.
board for me. It's an Apex card.
Okay.
Everyone was writing this one off. It was finish after finish after finish. Even the
Hmm.
first fight of the night was decision, but it was a fun back and forth fight with highlights and good moments for each fighter. Like you could make a strong argument for this Burns Morales card to be one of the best ones of the year, I think. And it
Yeah.
caps off with a main event finish in the first round.
Okay.
I'm putting that in my three slot. Then for the other two are going to be pay-per-views. UFC 315. I was in attendance for, but I
Yeah.
think it just finished. There were so many finishes on the card. There was a lot of incredible moments for Canadian fighters, as
Hmm.
well as a good title change in the main event. That was a great moment in
That was
itself.
good.
So that's going to be my number two. And number one, this might be, I think UFC 314 is going to be
Wow.
my number one.
Okay.
The main event was highlighted with Volkanovski taking the belt back. There was Paddy Pimblett, great win for him. Yair Rodriguez. There was a lot of great moments on this card. And
Yeah.
also, Bark, the fucking Bryce Mitchell get barked at. That was just
Yeah. That
that
was
might
great.
make it the best moment, the best event of the year by far. So UFC
Okay.
314 is my event of the year.
I'll go next. I'll say UFC 314 is not on my list. Probably should be, but you got I was half asleep at 3 a.m. in a hostel bed in Austria with no headphones watching it. So I was going in and out of sleep. I actually missed the Yair fight 'cause I passed out. So it's not on my list for that reason, but I'll go ahead. I'll go next. My top three, number three, PFL first round three. That was welterweights and no, sorry, middleweights and lightweights. You had all but two fights were finishes. You had that crazy Clay Coward or Alfie Davis knocking out Clay Coward with that spinning back elbow. You had Fabian Edwards being exciting, that 30-second Gadzi Rajabanov KO over Mark Diakiese. You had some real good fights there. Next, I'm gonna go to UFC Seattle um, as my number two. The main event wasn't great. That's probably the only reason it's not higher. Granted, I like to see Henry Cejudo lose, but you had a great fight with Fluffy and Brendan Allen. Um, Jean Silva got a KO, and then you had eight straight finishes on the prelims with some great fights in there. I also won a lot of money, so that's probably why. And then number one for me was UFC 315. I really liked it. I had a great time. I was there, so that definitely influenced it a lot too. Will, I know this one was trickier for you. You've been to a few more of these than Genie had too. Let's hear it.
I think my number three is going to be a sleeper pick. Manel Kape versus Almabayev in the Apex. I think that there was a lot of decisions on that card, but I think there was a lot of good fights. You had that Austin Lane knockout loss, which was always
Yeah,
pretty fun. The Cape fight was, a damn good finish. You had Sam Patterson, Danny Barlow, Hyder Emil, William Gomes, Nasrat Hapcrast, and Esteban Ribovics,
yeah,
Cody Brundage, Julian Marquez,
yeah.
Shepard Mariscal, Ricardo Ramos. I think I think it was a pretty decent card for what it was on paper. Number two, it would be a card that I was at UFC Kansas City. That
Okay.
fight just had bangers up and down the card. You saw Anthony Smith retire and then have some shit go on after the fight. Then you had the crazy main event where Ian Gary was driving to a decision win and he almost gets stopped. Mm. It doesn't get much better than that to cap off the night. There was huge adrenaline dump at the end of the night, and you go home happy. And my number one is going to have to be UFC 314. That
Sure.
was, I think, the best card of the year. Just top to bottom. There's finishes, brawls, wars. Um, yeah, I mean, I wanted to really throw in a uh, like a non-UFC card, but I just really couldn't think of one, honestly. I do like
It's
that
tough.
PFL pick you had. It was a
Yeah.
good that was a good event. PFL's throwing on some good cards this year.
Yeah. Honorable mention time. I'll kind of one that was a non-UFC event. I wanted to put in there, but every fight was like it was kind of tough. KSW 105. You had the Eddie Hall and Mariusz Pudzianowski fight, and
Oh wow.
you had a few great fights on there. I was watching. I really like KSW, but you had a few awful fights there too. So, any honorable mentions from you two?
None for this category for me.
I came close to doing UFC Seattle. I
Yeah.
just didn't like how it ended.
Yeah.
That's why I
Fair.
didn't choose that. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's jump to the next category then. Top three fights of 2025. I have a feeling that a lot of our selections are going to come from these three. Or sorry, from the events 2025 of the last category, but you never know. So Will, you ended us last time. Kick us off. What are your top three fights of the year, any promotion in 2025?
All right. My first one is going to be Brundage versus Marquez. It lasted like
Ooh,
4 minutes, but
yeah,
it was a slobber knocker
that
start
was
to
good.
finish. Both guys just eating punches and giving punches from start to finish. Um, when you're landing 30, 40 punches in a 30 or in like a 3 minute, 4 minute span, like that's a pretty damn near pretty entertaining fight. So that's gonna have to be on my list. Recency bias, I'm gonna have to go with Bilal versus JDM. I don't know if it's uh that it was a good fight for Bilal and that's why I was so entertained, or if it was just a good fight in general. I'm leaning that it was just more of a good fight in general, especially like the latter half of the fight. It was just very entertaining. Both guys trading shots, eating big shots, giving big shots, and you saw a new champion. So it was cool. I think a lot of people wrote JDM off, and they just said, "Oh, Bilal decision," and it was not that. And I'm gonna go to a fight that was not even 24 hours ago, and say Melky Costa and Julian Erosa has got to be on my
Oh, okay.
list because those guys were flailing their arms like wacky inflatable tube men. Um, I don't know. He stung Julian Erosa like 8 times in that
Yeah,
fight, and he stayed composed. Like you could see that he made a conscious effort not to go balls to the walls and tried to put it on Erosa because Erosa has fire that he can send back towards his way, and that was a damn good fight. So,
that was a damn good fight. Um, I'll go next. I'll kind of be sandwiched in the middle of you two. You
I
guys
don't like
swap
the way it
going first and
sounds.
third.
I don't like the
All
way it
Diddy,
sounds.
all Diddy. We'll have a freak off. Um, Funny enough, you had some great fights on there, Will. None of yours are on my top three. I had a few years on my honorable mentions, but number three,
Nice.
I'm gonna go Yuri Prohaska and Jamal Hill, UFC
Oh
311.
yeah,
I want to say that was a
good
great
fight.
fight. You know I'm a Yuri guy, so gotta put him up there. Number two, I'm going Mason Jones and Jeremy Stevens from UFC.
Okay,
Was that Iowa or Kansas City?
Iowa, Des Moines.
Iowa.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
those two guys beat. Well, Mason Jones more beat up Jeremy Stevens, but it was pretty. It was a good one. And then number
Sure.
one, I'm going outside the UFC. Paul Hughes and Usman Nurmagomedov had a slobber knocker. Well,
Yeah.
that's not true. It was a technical fight, but it was a great fight. That's my number one fight of the year from. Oh, geez, it must have been.
It was the last Bellator event, I think.
Yeah, it was March. I want to say because
It was
no, it
kind of
was
like
January.
they took like the promotion away from it being like a
Yeah.
PFL event and a bunch of weird stuff, and they had the Bellator belt that loudly screamed Bellator and just
Oh, that was
weirdness.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Side note, you guys noticed last night the UFC had Patchy Mix as the last Bellator champion or Bellator bantamweight champion. I thought that was interesting. Um, so yeah, Jamie, uh, I'd be interested to hear about any fights you have that are not on our list, but let's hear your list.
So I'll go from 3 to 1. So my top three, my third most favorite fight of the year. We're going Marco Tulio versus Trishan Gore.
Oh yeah, that's a good
Listen,
one.
this fight was a
Yeah,
fucking brawl. The
yeah,
Yeah,
second it
beast.
started, they're trying to just inflict as much violence on each other as possible. And like Tulio was lapping Gore for
yeah.
the most part of this fight, but then Gore would land a massive left hook that would like
Hmm.
make Tulio like nearly get knocked out, and then Tulio's putting the pressure on him again, and then doesn't get the knockout, and Trishan Gore just throws his fucking overhand, and it nearly gets Tulio, and then the round ends, and then second round, Tulio's still
Yep.
just beating him up, and it just continues on. It's just brutal, and
And
for that reason, it's got to be my third favorite fight of the year. Number two, JDM Bilal, as Will said. This fight, I don't know if it's recency bias or because I was in the stadium or because it was the belt change and I picked JDM. It was just beautiful. Every part
yeah,
of this fight, even the picture of Bilal and his fucked up face after, everything about this fight just makes it the one of the best fights of the year, man.
you need a
JDM,
napkin, man.
say again?
You need a napkin.
Yeah. And then that's my second favorite fight of the year. For number one, we're going Diego Lopez versus Alexander Volkanovski.
Ooh,
This fight, I
yeah,
mean,
good up
it
there.
was it was kind of one-sided, but there was moments for Diego, and he never quit at any moment in this fight.
Hmm.
Even in the fifth round, like when the fifth round's about to start, you could see the look on Diego's face. He was not shying away from the fight. He wanted to get a finish, even though he didn't get it. I mean, both fighters still had moments, and it was an incredible 5 round fight and
Yeah,
a great moment for Volk getting the belt back. So for that
Yeah,
reason, it's my fight of the year.
I like it. I'm glad we had such different lists too. Goes to show you how many good fights. I'm thinking
yeah.
it's gonna be the same with the next category too. But at least for to wrap up this, any honorable mentions from the two of you that haven't been said yet?
Not for me. I think we all had very different picks, and I think that
Yeah,
would do it.
I was gonna
yeah.
do the Mason Jones one for mine.
Mason Jones one, fair
Yeah.
enough. Two I had real quick. Rong Zhu and Cody Steele had
Yep.
a great
Okay.
fight. And then Nazareth Hackprest and Esteban Ribovic also had a great fight on your UFC Cop versus Bias card, Will, from earlier.
Mm.
Next up, second to last, top three finishes of 2025, knockout or submission. Um, this is let's see, Jeannie. I think you're kicking us off here.
Oh, great.
Top three.
Uh,
Let's hear it.
Listen, I got a fun one. I took my time going through each
Yeah.
card, man. I for my third finish of the year, I got Ricky Simone versus Javid
Ooh.
Basharat.
Yeah.
Close. This was a close. Like I didn't know where to rank this one, but it did make the cut, and it was a beautiful one too. With you had the Hendo style follow up shots
Yeah.
and eyes rolled back. Great underdog win. USA chance. You can't get a better
Mm.
moment for Ricky
Mm-mm.
Simone, man. Second best finish of the year. We're going UFC 315. Marc Andre Barrio versus Bruno Silva. Brutal elbow, early finish,
Yeah.
man. Great home win for Marc Andre Barrio, and it might have been a bit less brutal on camera, but for us, man, we
Oh
saw
my God.
Bruno Silva just laid out there for
Oh
5+ minutes, just in the same position. And even on camera, I rewatched it today, and you could see like every once in a while, but Barrio would do a lap of the cage. You'd still see Bruno Silva in the
yeah.
background, just laying down. 3 minutes
You,
after, four
you got
minutes
the
after.
You
Yeah,
could see the dent in his head too.
yeah, you could see the dent,
Oh,
like, yeah, and then he gets stretchered off, and yeah, it was one of the most brutal finishes. And I
yeah,
saw it in person, so that's the second best finish of the year. And number one, I mean, it's no contender. Ruffy versus Green. This is one of the best finishes of the year. This has to be. I mean, picture perfect spinning wheel kick,
yeah,
laid Bobby Green out, DC right before going, he landed the right hand on Green, and it really woke King Green up. And right when he says that, the spinning back kick lands on the temple and just obliterates him. So
yeah.
great timing on the commentary, great moment, and that's the finish of the year for me.
Okay, okay. Interesting. That is not my number one. Uh, I I'll go ahead next. My number three, I actually went. I was really conflicted here. I had like three that I wanted to put in my number three. I'm gonna go Priscilla Cachoeira and Josiane Nunes.
Nice,
Cachoeira
nice.
just uppercutting her, and that was a one shot, right? There was no follow ups. Yeah. That was a
No, I
great
think I
one.
think there was follow-ups.
Was there? Either way,
Think
she was
so.
out.
Oh
She was
yeah.
out after that first punch. Great finish. On a great card actually. Number two was the Mauricio Hufi and King Green knockout. You said it, Jeannie. I can't do it any better than that. Spinning wheel kick right to the dome. Number one, I'm shocked this didn't make your list, Jeannie. My number one finish of the year, Randy Brown over Nicholas Dalby.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
No spoiler. Well, maybe a little spoiler as well, but yeah, that was on top of like a great fight too. I think that's just what made it that much better is
Yeah.
they were swinging and I won't go too in depth if you got something. I'll let you go a little harder on it, Will. But just seeing Dolby faceplant was quite the image. So that leads us into bed and not cleanup, whatever third is. Big Will.
Okay, so each of you took one of mine, and I have since taken them out and added different ones. So we're going with that. My first one is going to be Sam Patterson's knockout over Danny Barlow.
Yeah, that was good.
Everyone wrote him off. Barlow was like a minus 400, and he came out and slept them like
Hmm.
pretty quick. That was insane because Sam Patterson's more known for like his grappling and his submission game. Not there. I did have Brown over Dolby, and I did have Ricky Simone KO over Basharat. But since I've added Cesar Almeida's KO over Abdul Razak,
Ooh.
where he
Yeah.
just stretched him badly. He stretched him badly, and that was after he Abdul saw him get like hurt a little bit, and he just ran right into a left hook, I think it was, or
Yeah.
left
Yeah,
hand.
yeah.
Another, my last one's gonna be this one's more so of the shock factor, not so much of the finish. It would be Nasruddin Imovov's KO over
Mm,
Adesanya. I don't think anybody thought that was gonna happen.
no.
So I think for the shock factor alone, I remember I was watching with Damir. Me and Damir just looked at each other like, "What the fuck did we just watch?" You know, it was just it was an intense finish. So
Yeah.
that's on my list.
Shout out. Uh, yeah. Honorable mentions. I had that Elsie Davis play collar spinning elbow knockout. I
Oh
had the
yeah.
I had like three or two John Silva ones I wanted to put in here. I just didn't. You could have gone with either, I feel. Either
Yeah.
the Bagdasarian or the Bryce Mitchell one. And then RDR and Bo Nickel, I was thinking about putting in there too. Just decided not to. Boys, any other honorable mentions from you two?
I had two.
No, sir.
I had go Atiba Gauthier versus Jose Medina. It was
Yeah.
just such a fun one, and on rewatch, it still is a really fun, like just finish. You know, Gauthier just pummeling him, and
Yeah.
Medina is just smiling, asking for more, and then Gauthier's like, "Fuck it, hook, 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 knee," and just incredible
You
win
I
for
know.
Gauthier. Um, and I already talked about it earlier, but Tulio Gore, this was originally going to be my finish of the year, and then I'm like, the finish isn't that good. It's just a right hand, and then he gets knocked out. But it's
Mhm.
everything leading up to it. You know, it's
Yeah.
115 significant strikes in under a minute or in under 1.5 rounds for Tulio. Like that's incredible. He was fucking pummeling Gore, and then he just gets him out of there in the second round. It was the brutalness of it. So for that
Yeah.
reason, it's an honorable mention.
Okay. Okay. And we'll end here with the top three list specifically on top three fights to be made in 2025. Now, I'm gonna I'm gonna guess that our lists are gonna be pretty different, except for one thing. Except for one thing. Specifically, I gave them parameters. I gave the voice parameters. I'm telling the audience these are fights that have not been booked. So or announced. So you can't do like JDM Islam. They've announced that one. These are fights that have not been booked or announced that you are the most excited for, UFC or otherwise. So this you, Will? Are you kicking us off here? Either way. Well,
I could for sure. I think
let's hear it.
oh, I do think we need to see a Corey Sandhagen Peter Yan rematch. I think at some point this year. That makes sense for especially if O'Malley wins the belt. Like I don't know. They might do an immediate rematch and do a trilogy, but I don't know. They might do something. I don't know. That's something I think that would be really exciting for the division, and I think all of the fans. Another one I was thinking was Yair Rodriguez and Diego Lopez.
Yeah. Yeah. Got to do it.
I think that was a pretty obvious one. I think that's they have bad blood over some drama in a gym and this and that, and I don't really care about that, but I just think it'll be a fun fight. Um, Another one, I think we need to see Sean Brady fight Ian Gary.
Ooh,
That's a good one.
interesting.
So I think Ian Gary, you can't fight a number 13 guy, be number 6, and say you're not fighting again until you get a title shot. Doesn't work like that. Prior to that fight, Sean Brady was the number one welterweight in the UFC. Um, he is the number one ranked. He is the number one welterweight, not named Jack Della and Bilal. So I think he's definitely should fight Ian Gary while Madalena and um, Islam handle their business. So
Yeah. Interesting. I was wrong then. We don't actually share any of those fights. I'll go ahead in my list. Number three for me. This could be. I don't care how it happens. I want to see DDP and RDR fight. Uh, you've been seeing. You guys have been seeing the memes going around lately of DDP by when he pulls off the mask and realizes it shows he was Hamzat all along. I've been seeing the same thing with RDR. And just imagine how stupid that fight is going to look. Uh,
yeah,
it could be if DDP loses the title. It could be if he beats Hamzat and RDR beats Whitaker. I don't care. Just give it to me. Uh, Number two, I really want to see. I'm also going to Sean Brady fight here. I'm going him and Shotcut. I think. I think I don't know if they're gonna make him or he might want to, but if Islam and JM are gonna be fighting maybe like October by this point, Abu Dhabi, right? That would be essentially after the time off. It'd be like a year and a half of Shavkat just sitting on the sidelines, and you gotta make some money, right? And why not fight Sean Brady for called a number one contender fight, called an interim, whatever. Maybe they do it. I think there would be some incredible grapplings there. And then number one, I thought this was gonna be number one on everybody's. Tom Aspinall and John Jones. I mean,
that's. I mean, that's kind of. I mean, that's the fight we all know is gonna happen.
do we?
Yeah, we
Well, it's
we
like
want it
it's
to
in our hand.
happen.
It's
I
in
don't
our
know.
hands, is what I'm saying.
It's
Like,
in our hands.
yeah,
You know what? I guess Dana White has said it's gonna happen, so I guess I'm violating my own rules. I don't believe it. I'll sub one in there. I'll sub something else in there. I think Patchy Mix is going to be a really interesting challenger for Marab. I think he's going to get there, and I think he's the first guy I think he's the only guy I might think about picking over Marab in like the top 10 right
I
now.
wonder what those odds will be.
I think it's going to depend because you got to think I'm going to pick him to beat Bautista, and then he's probably not getting a title shot right after that, right? He's probably
You,
getting.
you really, if he goes out there and finishes him and says I want next, he's in a
Yeah,
good spot to do it because he's gonna be right before the main event or two
that's
fights
true.
before. I think he's the feature fight, isn't he?
Feature fight.
On the pay-per-view,
No.
or is he the
Oh wait,
first
no,
fight?
no.
He's the first in the
Yes, he
feature, I
is.
think.
He's the feature because first is Luque and who's Luque fighting? Luque and Santi.
I really think they're trying to inject him into the
Okay.
spotlight here.
Either way, I am looking forward to it. And Jeannie, let's hear your list.
So starting off, because you said Ian Gary, I don't think the fight to make for him is Sean Brady. I think the fight to make for Ian Gary is Joaquin Buckley. There
Ooh.
is beef They have a storyline. It's the Buck versus Cuck. You know, they have.
Win or lose fight Buckley or Buckley.
Oh yeah. Well, I guess I guess he's fighting Kamaru,
Is
but
that just your assumption that he's going to destroy tomorrow?
he's going to destroy Kamaru,
Yeah.
and then I think they're gonna make that fight after. I mean, Ian Garrett, like, I mean, rankings wise, it might not make sense actually, but I
I
still
think
think
it
they're gonna
does.
remake that. I think they're gonna make that fight anyways. There's the storyline. There's the whole like they've been at the press conferences together. There's the
Yeah.
clips and all that of like his wife stroking Buckley's arm at the press conference. Like,
That was so
the
weird.
fight's gonna happen.
Yeah.
The other one, I was surprised it hasn't been made yet. I was really surprised when they made Dvalishvili O'Malley 2
Yeah.
instead of Marab Dvalishvili versus Pantoja. I thought that fight
Yeah.
was for sure going to happen. Like that was there was nothing happening in either one of the divisions. There was no challenger at 135 or 125. And I still
Mm-mm.
think that fight could happen if Pantoja gets past Kai Kara France and
Yeah.
Dvalishvili gets past O'Malley. I think that's the next fight to make. I don't think there's any challengers available right now. So get that fight done. Super fight at the end of the year. And I don't even know if they'll do it though because they don't like super fights. They don't like the double
It's
champion shit.
it's so dumb. This is like the most deserved of any two guys ever, right?
Yeah.
They both cleared out their divisions.
Yeah.
Come on.
I
It
think
doesn't make
UFC's
sense.
been bullish on that. I'm sure you guys have seen me say this and why. I think they are just not into them not because once a fighter goes up in weight and maybe they have some success, they're like, fuck that extra 10, 15 pounds. I don't want to go back down. But they're still the champion. Ilya said publicly he didn't want to make the weight anymore, and I think the same thing is going to be for Islam.
Mm,
I think they're like, you're not gonna want to make the weight. You don't want to make the weight as it is. If you come up here and have any sort of success, you're not gonna want to go back down.
that's fair.
Um, Chael Sonnen says uh, that fighters aren't gonna want to cut weight if they don't have to.
That's true.
So
That's fair. Yeah.
we've only seen one champion ever go up and down and defend a couple times.
Yeah.
Amanda Nunes.
Yeah.
Who else has done it?
That's true. Well, I got one more,
Yeah. No,
and
but all
it's
right, let's hear it.
actually after that long spiel, it's another double champion I'm going to be making a matchup for. Zhang Wei Li
Yeah.
versus Valentina Shevchenko. I feel like
Yeah.
this fight it's gotta happen, man. Shevchenko
Yeah.
keeps winning, and Zhang Wei Li keeps winning. They're so dominant. Put them together, man. They've been hinting at this fight for so long.
Mhm.
Let's get it done before it's too late. Like this, that would be a banger matchup. And I feel like Zhang Wei Li at this point is the only person in the world that could beat Valentina Shevchenko, even though I keep picking against her. So
I agree. That was on my honorable mentions. Um, so was Nurmagomedov Hughes too, and also just something I just thought about while I was looking. What about Ngannou and Eddie Hall? Why don't we
okay.
just throw those two guys in there and see what happens?
All right. What's next?
Kind of weird. Honorable mentions from you two gentlemen. Anything you want to say?
I did have Tom Aspinall and John Jones on there. I think it
Mhm.
will happen. I think it's going to be made for UFC 322 at MSG. I think they're just holding off on announcing it at this point because they kind of have their schedule. Like they're up to 320 right now, and that's September. So 321 is probably Abu Dhabi, maybe is what they usually
Yeah,
do
yeah,
in October. So I think they're waiting to announce this. Abu Dhabi's probably going to be like an Ankalaev and Pereira number 2,
yeah.
or
They
JDM
could do
Islam.
Islam. Yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
could do
I could
JDM
see them
Islam.
totally announcing Jones and Aspinall for Madison Square Garden in International Fight Week.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
Because think about it. Look what John's doing. He's going to be in Thailand filming for a month. You think he just randomly found out about that?
God.
He knew about that months ago. And
Yeah.
if he
Yeah,
knew about that months ago, UFC probably knew about that months ago. So I think I didn't even think about that prior to this. It literally just came to me just now. He probably knew that he was going to be going to Thailand for a month at the beginning of the year. That's
yeah,
probably what he knew, and I think UFC's known. And then, I mean, what are they gonna say? Like, oh yeah, we're gonna wait until June to announce things.
yeah.
But
It's dumb. It's so dumb. All right. Well, next up, uh, I got a little fun. I said game. Game might be the wrong word. I got a little on the spot Q&A for the for Will and Jeannie. These are I didn't give them the questions ahead of time. I just want to get their honest opinions, their off the dome takes. So the first one, gentlemen, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say the question, and I'm gonna give you some background while I let you think for a second. We're gonna go over under 6.5 and news in the UFC this year. Okay, and news. You got one automatically with uh Ilya and Charles. That being said, there's a lot of fights that aren't booked and a lot of championship fights that are booked. So I'm going to run through the title fights that are booked this year while I let you collect your thoughts. We have Marab and Sean O'Malley. Two, we have Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison. Um, Topuria and Oliveira. Obviously, you got one there. Pantoja and KKF.
We already got JDM.
JDM and Islam. Sorry, for the rest of the year. So, like, from now on. DDP and Hamzat. And, yeah, Islam
Oh,
and
hammer the under. I
the
feel like that line
under.
should be like that line should be like 4.5, 3.5.
4.5, 3.5, really? 3.5
Yeah.
and news. Okay.
Well, because think about it. 9 times out of 10, a champion's favored to win the match. You know what I mean? There's there's
See,
few occasions like Juliana and Kayla and this and that, but I mean, I could see like 4 or 5 maybe. It maybe, but
see,
seven is a lot.
I think we have three so far this year where the challenger is so far for the rest of the year where the challenger's favored. Islam, uh, Juliana, and Hamzat.
Is Islam not even money against Jack?
I think he's minus 170, minus 160.
Are we counting the BMF
No,
Poirier versus
God no.
Holloway? No.
Come on,
You
man. You
kidding
gotta know
me?
your audience, man. You can't say to that.
All right, well, you're hammering the under, so I'm guessing you're gonna pick I'm guessing you're gonna pick Murat to retain. You're probably
No, I'll
uh
probably pick Sean in that, honestly. Like I think we're
really
gonna get some I think we're gonna get some new champions. I don't know about seven though for the rest of the
7.
year. I
Okay,
don't know about
interesting.
seven. I can see five. I can see six.
Seven's a little too much. Jeannie, where are you at?
I'm counting on my fingers here. I'm up to 6. I could
6?
see, maybe, if everything goes my plan.
Okay.
If I rub my lamp the right way, we're getting 6. And
That's a sicko.
that's without the December pay-per-view. So we could get the 7th one.
Yeah.
We could get the 7th one. I'm Aspinall, that's a free win. Kayla Harrison, that's a free win.
Hmm.
I don't want to count them all up because my brain's kind of malfunctioning right now. I did count up 6 though. Um, so you know what? Just to play, just to be fun, I'll go with the over. I'll go with the over.
Okay. Okay. I'm also going with the over. I was doing this. Granted, I have a lot more time to think because I'm making these questions. Kayla, um, Topuria or Charles, whoever. Uh, I'm picking Shemaev. I'm picking Makachev. I'm picking Islam.
That's
I'm
what.
picking Tom.
You
And
said
then
Islam and Makachev.
Islam. Oh, okay. Anyway, I got to 6. Let's put it that way. I think Pereira could win his belt back. I think Evlev could beat Volkanovski. Um, and I mean, Pantoja's gonna fight 2 or 3 more times this year alone. I mean, probably he could lose. I think Whaley could beat Valentina. I think we can get to 7. I think any higher than 7 will be a lot. And the next one's gonna be a little interesting. I'm gonna do the same thing. Second question out of 3 I got for you. We're gonna go worst placement in the men's pound for pound rankings. Worst placement. I'm gonna run through them while I let you two think. Okay. This is from 15 to 1. We got Charles, Sean O'Malley, Bilal, Max Holloway, Tom Aspinall, Alexandre Pantoja is 10, JDM, Pereira, Volk, Ankalaev, DDP's 5, Marab, Ilya, John, and Islam. So, Jeannie, I know you're staring at it right now. I can see the glow of your monitor. Who is your what's the worst placement in the pound for pound?
It makes me genuinely sick that Magomed Ankalaev's at number 6.
Do you think he should be higher?
No, I think he should be lower.
Lower.
I think he should be
Interesting.
lower. At least Volkanovski should be higher than him.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree with that.
I think
I agree with
Pereira
that.
and Magomed should be lower on this list right now. But Bilal at 13 also doesn't. I think wipe him off the list. Get him out of
Off the
here.
list completely.
Get him off of the list completely.
Interesting.
And
It is crazy. Leon was on the pound for pound list earlier this year. That was shocking to me. Okay. So you're saying Magdan Ankalaev with honorable mentions Bilal. Will, worst pound for pound ranking and why?
I think it's gonna have to be Magomed and Goliath. Like you're telling me he's pound for pound better than Volkanovski? Not buying it. Not
Hmm,
buying it. Not buying it.
okay.
That's one that stands out to me. Another one probably be Bilal, but I mean he just dropped 6 rankings, so he could be there in the 13 to 16 area. I don't mind that.
Sounds like you two had the pretty much well the exact same thought. I'm going Alexander Pantoja here. I think he should be top 3 or 4, but they have him at 10. They have him under um Pereira, JDM, Ankalaev, DDP, and Marab. Actually, Marab is fine. Under John Jones, though, that's kind of crazy to me. John Jones is another one. I think he should be like 8 or 9 at this
I was
point.
waiting for you to shit on John Jones.
Tom
Oh my
Aspinall's
God.
below Pereira. Tom Aspinall's below
I'm fine.
Pereira.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
One's a champion with a defense to his name.
Not according to the UFC. Um, I think they'd be pretty close. Pereira just has Aspinall doesn't
Bonk.
have that many
The bonk
wins.
ability.
The bankability, yeah. All right, and then last but not least, this is supposed to be a quick one, but I guess we just love talking about UFC that much. We're gonna go super easy.
The phone's not exploding this time. It is not hot to the touch. It
Phone's
might have
not
just been the app.
exploding.
I don't know. Who
Maybe
knows?
we did change our streaming service here, so that's good to hear. Last but not least, and we'll start off with you here, Will. No prep time for you. You just got to go on the spot. First half or so UFC ranking. What do you give it?
6.5, 6.75,
6.75.
which I
So
don't
an
think is,
Apex card.
which I don't think is like horrible. You can take a 6.75 out to a drink. I think.
You
Yeah.
would.
You would.
What?
Out to a
Yeah.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
Come on, man.
Not
Local
caught.
dive bar, buddy.
Not
A
caught.
local dive bar. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, I'm not one that's crying about commentary or promote. I don't give a shit about any of that. Um, I like to sit my ass in front of the TV and watch fights. I know it's cool to talk about Dana White not doing this or that. I don't give a shit, man. I just want to watch
Yep.
fights.
The everyman.
From a fight standpoint, I am enjoying watching the fights, man. There's like an occasional dud here and there, but I like the products. So
Fair enough. Okay. Jeannie, uh,
I
let's
was
hear it.
thinking around the same number as Will. I was thinking a 7 out of 10. I
7 out of 10.
do like most of these cards, half of them, they get shit on before they happen, and then they end up over. They end up being better than people think. So I think that has to factor in. And there's been a lot of fun cards as well this year. Most of these cards I'm sitting in front of my TV watching. I'm not missing any of these fights. It's like even when they are terrible Apex cards, half of them are finishes. They end up
Yeah.
being fun fights. So 7 out of 10, I think that's a good ranking.
Fair enough. I'm giving it like a C plus. For two real reasons. It feels like they're getting out of the Apex a little more. We had I want to say February was pretty Apexy, or maybe it was March. Either one. Um, they're getting out. I'm a big fan. And then the other thing too, there's been a few breaks. You know, they give you a weekend off, and you kind of like the one we're in right now. I think this is our third break so far. They kind of give you a little time to settle and kind of think about where you're at, and then get to enjoy the fights, come back. So not too bad. Certainly looking forward to the rest of the year. I think after Barber and Blanchfield, we are out of the Apex for 7 or 8 events, which I think is crazy. Um, and yeah, if you, I'm gonna do a super quick regional minute, real quick. It's gonna be less than a minute. You got the Road to UFC. They actually put a decent time for us. It's at 7 and 10. They have, 2 in a day on Thursday and Friday
Oh
this
hell
week.
yeah!
So early morning MMA. There's a bunch of regional MMA. Honestly, just go to UFC Fight Pass if you have it, and just look at the schedule. But there's a fun Cage Fury grappling. You got Joe Slecki and Pat Sabatini grappling. And then you got Chris Weidman and Pat Downey grappling, which I thought was really weird. Uh, you got a few more here and there. You got an LFA, CFFC, a few title fights there. Cage Titans shout out, but there's always fights. I don't want to go too into depth, but I'll be watching some regional MMA and definitely that grappling card. So that's it for regional 30 seconds, whatever it was. Yeah. Will, Jeannie, thanks so much for coming on. Hope you
Of
guys
course,
had fun making these lists. I certainly enjoyed reminiscing and watching some exciting fights from the first half of the year. And yeah, thank you for watching as well, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the cards, the fights as much as we did, and hopefully we get a equally good, if not better, second half of the year. So yeah, enjoy the week off, and you have a great one. We'll see
boy,
y'all.
peace.